Hey guys, so today I have swatches of the Courtyard collection for spring 2022 from I Love Nail Polish. These are available right now, so I will link the I Love Nail Polish website down below. 6 polishes here altogether, and I will get into the swatches. So the first polish is called Sundress, and this is described as a pastel speckled nail polish with blue metallic flakes sprinkled throughout. It doesn't actually say what color of pastel, which is interesting. I would probably consider this a very, very pale yellow, maybe leaning into off-white territory. So this is a curly base, so it is a little bit sheer. It was also a little bit uneven for me on that first coat. It has a ton of those little tiny blue flakes, which I love so, so much. And it did cover completely and even out really nicely for me on that second coat. And these flakies are so, so small. They do lay relatively flat. You might find a little tiny bit of texture from them, but I kind of doubt it. And no difficulty with removing them at all because, again, they are so small. So that is 2 coats of Sundress. The next polish is called Penelope, and this is described as a creamy pale pink accented with gold metallic flakes. This is another one that was sheer on the first coat and a bit uneven for me as well. This definitely comes off a little more delicate. The gold flakies that are in here are a bit more sparse than the blue metallic flakies in the last polish. This did not build up completely for me in 2 coats. I did end up needing 3. I had full coverage and I was pretty happy with how even it looked after that third coat, but it did take 3 to get there. And I do feel like after that base started to build up, those gold flakies stood out considerably better. So that is 3 coats of Penelope. The next polish is called Harmony, and this is described as a light rosy mauve with a delicate holographic effect. This one was also a little bit sheer and a little bit uneven for me in that first coat, but the formula is very smooth and fairly easy to work with. The holographic that's in here is a very, very subtle holographic. I do have a clip of it in the sunshine so you can see what it looks like in full sun, but it's definitely not like a blinding linear holographic. I had full coverage with this one in 2 coats. I did do a little bit thicker of a second coat to get there, so you might need 3 just depending on your application, but this footage tends to show things a little bit more sheer than they actually are. So it looked good on camera in 2, so I think it's probably fine in 2 in person. So that is 2 coats of Harmony. The next polish is called Morning Dew, and this is described as a khaki green with a scattered holographic jelly finish. So this is a jelly. It is pretty sheer on that first coat, but it is packed with that scattered holographic. Definitely not a subtle holographic like the previous polish. I stopped at 2 coats for this one, and I really debated about whether I needed a 3rd coat. And in person, I looked okay in 2, but on camera, it looks really sheer in 2 coats still. So if you're debating, I think I would probably recommend a 3rd coat just to make sure that everything's covered in all lighting. If I did this again, I would definitely add that 3rd coat. So that is 2 coats of Morning Dew. The next polish is called Good Mornings, and this is described as a radiant teal holographic jelly. So this is a jelly base. It's squishy. You can still see through it, but I was actually expecting it to be more sheer than it was. This was a little bit uneven for me on that first coat as well. I also feel like I had a little bit of texture from the flakies in here. They're definitely bigger flakies than the ones that were in Morning Dew, so that would make sense. Not like crazy glitter texture, but they could tell there was a little bit something different going on. This is another one that was way more sheer on camera than it looked to me in person. I even wrote in my notes solid in 2, and now looking at the footage, you can see my nail line like clear as day across all nails. So I would suggest 3 here. So that is 2 coats of Good Mornings. And the last polish is called Pebble Path, and this is described as an antique brass ultra metallic. And ILNP describes their ultra metallic finish as prismatic holographic microflakes and reflective silver metallic flakes. So this isn't a clear base, but it is absolutely packed with flakes, so you still get pretty good coverage. And really shiny things like this tend to look more full coverage easier because there's so much light reflecting back that it's hard to focus on any empty space or nail line. I had what I would consider full coverage in 2 coats, but there definitely were still some gaps between those elements. It's just so busy that it was hard to pick out, and I didn't really think it was worth a 3rd coat.
The flakies and everything that's in here will dry relatively flat, but you might have kind of a mess on removal because those light metallic flakes get everywhere. So that is 2 coats of Pebble Path.
So continuing on with being like the most predictable person ever, my 2 favorites here are going to be Sundress and Penelope. Sundress, little teeny tiny blue flakies in this like off-white kind of eggshell base. Like it is spring. I really, really, really like this. And then of course Penelope is little tiny gold flakies in a pink base, and you guys know how much I love gold and pink together and how much I love little teeny tiny flakies. So this should probably not be a huge surprise either. And that is the Courtyard collection from ILNP for spring 2022. Again, I will link that website down below where you guys can check those out. Hope you enjoyed this one, and I will talk to you later. Bye.